War for Cybertron Bumblebee from the Transformers Studio Series line is a weird figure. We're going to start out here in vehicle mode. I actually really do like the vehicle mode. It's a tiny little bug thingy that works pretty darn well. It's got zero ground clearance, but it moves back and forth without any issue, which is nice. What isn't nice is the QC on the paint. It's got a giant splotch of paint right there on the black. I can fix it, yes, but I wanted to show that to you before we move on. The other thing that's not so nice is some of the paint matching. The wheel art, or the wheel hubs, are a different yellow from the rest of the figure, and the hands or I should say the wrist guards in robot mode are also this same yellow. It's like the actual hubs are painted over with a different yellow than what the rest of the figure is molded. Other than that, paint matching is pretty good on the whole of the figure. For size comparison, there's Prime. He's so much bigger. So much bigger. And then Barricade. Again, Barricade. So much bigger. All of these three have great vehicle modes. Bumblebee's is just so tiny compared to the others, which makes sense, but it does unfold out into a slightly taller robot, which I am appreciative of. Bumblebee comes with 3 weapons: a blaster, a bigger blaster, and a sword. Either blaster can be stored on the top of the vehicle mode or mounted onto the back of the vehicle mode like that. They do not combine. I thought they originally did, but there's nowhere for the bigger blaster to peg into on the smaller one, which is a shame. So we'll just switch them up so you can get a look at what it looks like with the larger blaster on top. Like that. Yay! Now where does the sword go? It fits in that peg hole right underneath the figure. Just like that. Not gonna lie. Yeah, vehicle mode, it's pretty good. It's just a little weird, but it works. I mean, because this is the way the vehicle mode was in the show. All right, let's get into the transformation. To start off with, come to the back of the vehicle mode and unpeg the entire rear of the vehicle mode and flip it up like that onto the roof. Then come to the sides, which were the doors, and unpeg them from the body and flip them around. And then don't flip them around all the way because we have to come underneath and flip up what are the figure's toes. And do the same thing on the other side. Unpeg it, flip it up, and then flip up his toes like that. Once we have the toes moved out of the way, take these big yellow pieces and flip them around what are obviously the knees. Then take the entire limb section and fold them out. And then grab those wheel sections and flip them into the inside of the wheels, and they will peg into place. Then come down to the feet and fold these little yellow pieces around until they clasp onto the wheels. And then stand the stupid thing up. And before you ask, yes, you can make a car walk, but just don't. It doesn't work. All right, now for the wheels. Grab the front wheels and unpeg them from the wheel arches and fold the elbows all the way down like that. You can push the wheel arches in a little bit, but they will hit the head. That's fine. Fold the elbows or shoulders out like that, and then pull them out from inside the body. Getting them pulled out, very easy. Getting them pushed back into place, very difficult. And now we move on to a really annoying part of the transformation. This panel right here is pegged into place extremely tightly. You have to push very, very hard in order for it to snap out of place. And when you're pushing down on it, you want to actually push up on the front of the vehicle mode as well. So that allows you to grab that panel, flip it all the way down, and then bring the entire chest section down, while at the same time grabbing the hips and ratcheting the hips down one click, and then fold this entire section down because there is a peg hole right on the hood that will peg into that thing on the crotch. And as you're bringing it down, push the wheel arches in. And that whole thing will slide into place. You peg it in and then collapse the backpack in. And then we come down to the arms to fix the arms. On the outside of the forearm, grab the wheel and push it up towards the elbow and it will swing up. And then we can slide out the fist like that. And do the same thing on the other side. Push it up towards the elbow and flip that section around. And then grab the legs and turn them around 360 degrees, like so. And we're done. The robot mode we end up with is okay. It's just okay. I actually think Barricade's robot mode works better than Bumblebee's. The dark yellow kind of works. I would have liked it to have been a little brighter, but the red, the charcoal gray, and the overall body structure do work. And that head sculpt, The designers of this figure nailed the head sculpt without a doubt. That is an absolutely fantastic head sculpt. It works for Bumblebee so well. In fact, it makes me think of the original Classics figure. It's really good. The silver face, the baby blue eyes, the horns, it all works very well. Unfortunately, what doesn't work as well is the posability of the legs. The arms and the head are your typical Transformer posability. Head's on a ball joint, shoulders on a ball joint, there's a hinge for in and out, swivel at the upper arm, bend at the elbows about 90 degrees. Unfortunately, no fist articulation because of the way that figure transforms. Then the legs, there's a torso swivel, ball joint in the hips, swivel at the legs, bend to the knee is over 90 degrees, but then that's it. There's no real ankle rocker for the feet. There is one, but it turns the wrong way for the transformation. And unfortunately, this little thing that flips over the front toes, it doesn't clip in all that tightly. It's really kind of stupid. And in this age of 2023, there should be an ankle pivot somewhere on this thing that's, going in the correct direction. That'd be really nice. In this mode, he can hold the sword with no problem, and either of the blasters fit on his backpack with no problem. In fact, you can fit one blaster in one of the two up top, and then there are these other two underneath that you could fit the other... Whoops, I grabbed the wrong gun. You could fit another of the blasters underneath, like that. So that works very well. Like Barricade and Prime before him, his arm does come off, and then you can slip on one of the blasters, which... cool. I actually kind of like this gimmick, and if it's across the line with all of them, that's pretty cool. And yes, Bumblebee works just fine with Barricade's gun, and even Prime's, though Prime's does, well, it's a little big on him, but it still works. And I know this is one of the guns from the game, but on Bumblebee, it just looks out of place. Prime's Giganto Cannon works better as a giant gun. This one, yeah, it's got a little peg for blast effect gimmick, but I just don't like it. It just doesn't work for Bumblebee. Now, out of the box, the shoulders were actually pointed up like that, and they were snapped into place. With the shoulders being snapped into place like this, you do need to be careful because, yes, the ball joint does work, but as soon as you try to move the ball or the hinge out of the way and move it up, if the shoulders don't move by themselves, you're going to pop the ball joint. You're just going to pop the arm clean off the ball joint. And the arms have a hell of a time trying to stay on this figure. I end up popping the shoulders off all the time, whether that's just through posing or the transformation or, just looking at it. They fall off. The one thing that I absolutely hate about this figure is the fact that it's hollow. I mean, you could see right through it. Barricade and Prime do not have that problem, and it's not really a problem, so to speak. It's just an aesthetic choice that I really just don't like. And also, I mean, he's got a giant beer gut mono boob thing going on. I'm not a fan of that, but given the way the figure is set up and the way the transformation works, I mean, I just kind of have to forgive it. It's there. There's nothing I can do about it. Something else that is a little bit odd on this figure is some of the paint matching in robot modes, specifically the arms and the wheels. So these wheels are this darker color that is paint matched to the bit on above the wrists. And that's probably because of the same color of plastic, or roughly the same color of plastic being used for the wheel and for the fist. The rest of the figure, though, paint matches exactly the same. It's just odd because the rest of the body, the legs, and everything else are the same color except the wheels and these little pieces on the fists. It's just weird. And speaking of the plastic, it feels odd. It doesn't feel bad. It just feels different. And I have no idea why. I have no idea why. My figure, maybe there's like this film on it. Yeah, that's what I would say. It's got this weird film to it all over the figure that just feels different than Barricade and Prime. Oh, speaking of Barricade and Prime, they tower over Bumblebee. I mean, literally tower over him, especially Prime. That's not a bad thing, just for the price, this guy feels really tiny. But putting in some legacy figures actually kind of puts that in perspective. He's actually not that small when you compare him to the rest of Legacy. Overall, I wanted to love Bumblebee. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. It's fine. Now, if you love it and you're over the moon with the figure, hey, great, I'm glad. Now, if I'm going to rank these three in my least favorite to my most favorite, it's actually in their reverse order of numbering. So least, Bumblebee, Barricade, then Prime. I love Prime. I really do like Barricade, even though it's flawed, but I'm not thrilled with Bumblebee. It's just not the best thing ever, and I really wanted it to be. So folks, let me know what you think of Gamer Edition Bumblebee down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, follow me here on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and I'll catch you all next time.